Have you noticed your burger getting smaller, thinner, and more expensive than ever? You're not imagining it. Across America, burger chains are quietly cutting corners, shrinking patties, swapping in cheaper ingredients, and raising prices to sky-high levels. And while your wallet takes the hit, your health might be taking an even bigger one, because it's not just about smaller portions. Investigations have exposed dirty kitchens, questionable meat, and shortcuts that can turn a quick bite into a serious risk. The burger chains people once trusted are now serving food that's worse in quality, worse in value, and in some cases worse for your health than ever. And I guarantee you won't believe which chain landed at number one on this list. In this video, we'll expose the burger chains you should avoid at all costs and reveal the two rare exceptions that are actually worth your money. At number 7 is White Castle, the chain that built its fame on tiny sliders, but now carries some big problems. For decades, White Castle leaned on nostalgia, quirky square burgers, affordable prices, and cult status as America's first fast food burger chain. But behind that novelty lies a reputation that's far less appetizing. Inspectors in multiple states have flagged White Castle for dirty kitchens, unsafe food temps, and unsanitary prep. Basic failures no chain should ignore, from food stored at unsafe temps to grimy prep areas. These violations point to a lack of consistency where it matters most, keeping customers safe. Then comes the nutrition problem. White Castle's sliders rank among the saltiest fast food burgers in America. A single slider packs nearly 380 milligrams of sodium. And who stops at one? 4 sliders with fries can push you past 1,500 milligrams of sodium in one sitting, close to an entire day's recommended limit. That's a salt overload that fuels high blood pressure and heart disease over time. And the customer experience? It doesn't help. Reports of soggy buns, undercooked patties, and burgers left under heat lamps too long are common. Some fans celebrate the nostalgia, but too many leave disappointed or uneasy about what really goes on behind the counter. To be fair, White Castle isn't the worst offender on this list. It hasn't faced the same scale of lawsuits or deadly outbreaks as others will reveal. But the combination of poor sanitation, unhealthy food, and inconsistent quality lands it firmly on the chains to avoid list. That's why White Castle ranks at number 7. Because if sliders this small can come with this many problems, just wait until we hit a chain that charges premium prices and still leaves customers wondering why they paid so much for so little. At number 6 is Five Guys, the so-called premium burger chain that charges gourmet prices, but too often serves grease-soaked burgers that leave customers asking, is it really worth it? Built on the promise of fresh, made-to-order meals, Five Guys positioned itself as the upscale alternative to fast food. But more and more customers are questioning whether the reality matches the hype. The first problem is price. A basic cheeseburger and fries can easily hit $15 to $20, depending on location, more than double the cost of competitors. So what do you actually get? Diners complain of shrinking patties, sloppy presentation, and portions that don't match the price. Then comes the grease factor. Five Guys has earned a reputation as one of the greasiest burger chains in America. Burgers often arrive wrapped in grease-soaked foil, and the fries are buried under enough salt to make your lips sting. For a chain that markets itself as better quality, that's not premium, that's punishment. And while the company touts freshness, it can't escape criticism for inconsistent quality from location to location. Some restaurants deliver a decent meal, but others draw complaints about messy kitchens, rude staff, and food that tastes rushed. At a premium price point, inconsistency feels like betrayal. Health experts don't give Five Guys a pass either. A single bacon cheeseburger can top 1,060 calories and 1,300 milligrams of sodium, more than half a day's worth in one sandwich before you even touch the fries. For something marketed as worth it, the numbers tell a very different story. To be fair, some fans love the customization and generous toppings. But when high prices, grease-soaked burgers, and inconsistent quality become the norm, the value evaporates the second you unwrap the foil. That's why Five Guys ranks at number 6. Because if you're paying gourmet prices but walking away greasy, oversalted, and underwhelmed, the hype just doesn't add up. And if that sounds bad, wait until we move to number 5. A chain whose name is forever tied to one of the deadliest E. coli outbreaks in American fast food history. At number 5 is Jack in the Box, a chain whose name is forever tied to one of the deadliest E. coli outbreaks in American fast food history. Back in 1993, undercooked beef patties from Jack in the Box restaurants sickened more than 700 people across 4 states. Tragically, 4 children lost their lives, and hundreds more were left with permanent health damage. The scandal didn't just devastate families. It changed the entire fast food industry. Regulators imposed stricter food safety rules nationwide. But for Jack in the Box, the damage was permanent. Even 3 decades later, the brand can't fully shake the shadow of that disaster. And it wasn't just a one-time mistake. Over the years, Jack in the Box has been repeatedly criticized for unsafe food handling, dirty kitchens, and inconsistent quality. From undercooked chicken to low sanitation scores, too many locations continue to reinforce the chain's reputation as one of the riskiest burger stops in America. Customers echo the frustration. Many describe burgers that taste like mystery meat, greasy meals thrown together in a rush, and a menu built on gimmicks instead of consistency. Add in the late-night drunk food reputation, and you get a chain that feels more like a gamble than a meal. The nutrition facts only make matters worse. Some of Jack in the Box's most popular menu items, like the stacked grilled cheeseburger munchie meal, top 1,900 calories and 3,500 milligrams of sodium, more than most people should eat in an entire day. That's a dangerous overload disguised as dinner. To be fair, Jack in the Box has tried to rebrand itself with tacos, shakes, and novelty items. But no matter how many new products they launch, the chain remains haunted by its history and weighed down by its ongoing reputation for questionable quality. That's why Jack in the Box ranks at number 5. Because when a burger chain's name is tied to death, disease, and decades of doubt, it's never a risk worth taking. And if you think that's bad, wait until we get to number 4. A chain that claims to sell classic American burgers, but was caught exaggerating its food size in ways that left customers furious. At number 4 is Burger King, the home of the Whopper, and the home of one of fast food's most embarrassing lawsuits. Customers accused the chain of false advertising, claiming the Whopper in ads looked far larger than what they actually unwrapped. In fact, the lawsuit alleged Burger King exaggerated its size by as much as 35%, leaving diners furious when they realized they were paying more for less. But the lawsuits are only part of the problem. Burger King has a long record of food safety scandals, including recalls tied to contaminated beef and repeated health inspection failures. One Virginia location was slammed with 14 critical violations in one inspection, from uncovered food and filthy prep areas to workers ignoring basic hygiene. For a global brand, that kind of negligence is shocking. And the customer experience? Just as troubling. Diners often complain about burgers that taste bland and watery, fries that arrive limp, and food that looks like it was tossed together in seconds. For a chain competing head-to-head with McDonald's, Burger King has struggled to deliver consistency. Nutrition doesn't save it either. A double Whopper with cheese packs nearly 1,000 calories and a full day's sodium in just one burger, before you even add fries and a drink. That's not a meal, that's a health warning. And beyond the food, Burger King's brand has been in decline. Once the number 2 burger chain in America, it's now closing hundreds of locations, struggling with reputation damage and losing customer loyalty. The Whopper lawsuit only made its biggest weakness impossible to ignore: a brand that overpromises and underdelivers. That's why Burger King sits at number 4, because it's no longer the home of the Whopper. It's the home of broken promises. And if you think that's bad, Just wait until number 3. A chain that built its image on being fresh and trustworthy, but was tied directly to an E. coli outbreak that sickened nearly 100 people. At number 3 is Wendy's, the chain famous for fresh, never frozen beef and its wholesome image. But in 2022, that image was shattered when Wendy's was tied to a major E. coli outbreak that sickened nearly 100 people across 6 states. The outbreak was traced back to romaine lettuce used in Wendy's sandwiches. Dozens were hospitalized, and the CDC confirmed cases in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Indiana, and beyond. Consumers were left stunned that a chain built on freshness could let contaminated produce sicken so many people. Wendy's scrambled to pull lettuce from affected stores, but the damage was done. And the hypocrisy cut deeper. Because Wendy's sold itself as the safe choice, the fresher alternative to the competition. Suddenly, fresh didn't look like a promise. It looked like a liability. But food safety wasn't the only issue. Customers have long complained about shrinking portions, smaller patties, and rising prices. Once considered the premium fast food burger, Wendy's has started to blend in with the very chains it once mocked, charging more, serving less, and losing what made it stand out. Nutrition adds another blow. A Wendy's Big Bacon Classic clocks in at 910 calories and nearly 1,800 milligrams of sodium. Add fries and a drink, and you're staring at more than 2,000 calories in a single meal. That's not a premium burger, that's a health trap. To be fair, Wendy's still has loyal fans who swear by the frosty, spicy nuggets, and square patties. But outbreaks, shrinking value, and questionable nutrition pile up fast. And no amount of nostalgia can cover the cracks. That's why Wendy's ranks at number 3. Because when a chain that claims to be the trustworthy option ends up sending customers to the hospital, it proves that a slogan means nothing if the food sends people to the hospital. And if that wasn't unsettling enough, just wait until number 2. A chain that built its empire on classic American burgers, but now faces accusations of shrinking food while jacking up the prices. At number 2 is McDonald's, the most famous burger chain in the world, but also one of the most criticized, for charging more while quietly giving customers less. Once celebrated as the king of value, McDonald's has become the poster child for shrinkflation in fast food. In recent years, meal prices have soared by more than 40%. What used to be the cheapest option for families is now shockingly expensive. And worse, customers swear the patties are smaller, the buns thinner, and the burgers less filling than before. Paying more while getting less isn't value, it's betrayal. And the problems don't stop with price. McDonald's has been slammed for declining food quality, with diners pointing to watery burgers, limp fries, and sandwiches that look nothing like the ads. Meals often feel rushed, bland, and inconsistent, a far cry from the golden standard McDonald's once promised. Then comes the nutrition bomb. A double quarter pounder with cheese delivers over 1,200 calories and 1,600 milligrams of sodium. Add fries and a soda, and you're staring at nearly an entire day's calories in one sitting. The chain that built its empire on being a quick family meal now delivers a knockout blow to your wallet and your health. The image problem runs just as deep. McDonald's has faced lawsuits, protests, and endless criticism for marketing junk food to children while cutting corners on quality. In today's era of transparency, the golden arches aren't shining, they're cracking. To be fair, McDonald's still dominates the market and has die-hard fans. The fries remain iconic, and sheer convenience keeps millions coming back. But when a brand that built its reputation on value now delivers overpriced, undersized, and underwhelming food, the golden arches no longer represent quality, just disappointment. That's why McDonald's ranks at number 2. Because if the world's most famous burger chain can't deliver, what does that say about the rest of fast food? And that brings us to number 1, A chain so battered by scandals, lawsuits, and health violations that it has become the very symbol of everything wrong with fast food. You think McDonald's landing at number 2 was bad? So who takes the number 1 spot? The crown for the worst burger chain goes to Carl's Jr. and Hardee's, two names under the same parent company, both infamous for greasy calorie bombs, tacky marketing, and a long record of unhealthy excess. For years, Carl's Jr. and Hardee's leaned on over-the-top ads and monster-sized burgers to grab attention. But behind the flashy marketing, the reality is ugly. Nutritionists have repeatedly ranked these chains among the least healthy fast food restaurants in America. A single burger, like the double Western bacon cheeseburger, can top 1,500 calories and more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium. Add fries and a drink, and you've consumed more calories and salt than your body should have in an entire day, in a single meal. And it's not just the numbers. Customers frequently complain that the food is greasy, inconsistent, and poorly made. Burgers arrive dripping oil onto the wrapper, fries limp and oversalted, and service slow. The treat yourself moment turns into regret before the last bite. Then there's the marketing. Carl's Jr. and Hardee's became infamous for controversial ads that leaned on shock value and sex appeal. They made headlines, yes, but instead of building trust, they built the image of a company selling shock value instead of real food. Worse still, the brand has been collapsing financially. In recent years, it's been forced to shut down hundreds of locations as customers finally walked away. High prices, low quality, and a tarnished image left the chain scrambling to stay relevant and failing. That's why Carl's Jr. and Hardee's sit at number 1. Because while other chains may disappoint, these two have become the poster children for everything wrong with fast food: overpriced, unhealthy, and unappealing. So the next time you're craving a burger, think twice before heading to Carl's Jr. or Hardee's, because the biggest burgers might just leave you with the biggest regret. After tearing down the worst offenders, you're probably wondering, is there any burger chain left that's worth your money? The answer is yes. 2, in fact. First is In-N-Out Burger. This West Coast favorite has earned its cult following for good reason. Simple menus, fresh ingredients, and prices that haven't spiraled out of control like the others. Their patties are still juicy, the fries are made from real potatoes cut in-house, and the consistency across locations is shockingly strong. Add in a reputation for clean kitchens and loyal staff, and In-N-Out proves that fast food doesn't have to mean cutting corners. Second is Shake Shack. Yes, it's pricier than traditional fast food, but Shake Shack delivers on the promise of quality. 100% Angus beef patties, no antibiotics, and a focus on flavor over gimmicks. Customers rave about the balance of taste and presentation, and unlike other chains, Shake Shack hasn't been plagued with the same scandals or safety nightmares. You pay more, but this time you actually get more. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these chains shocked you the most? And have you ever had a bad burger experience yourself? Drop your story in the comments. It might save someone else from the same mistake. If this video opened your eyes, hit like and share.